Hey everybody, today I'm going to discuss with you how you can change your life situation, how you can turn your life around. And this is a super important video because a lot of people are stuck in toxic relationships. They don't know how to get out, they don't know how to change the situation, and it doesn't matter what they do on their external world, things just seem to keep going back to the way they used to be. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Natasha Williams, and I am a self-worth coach, an empowerment coach who's going to help you find deep self-love so that you can create mutually fulfilling relationships in your life. So the thing is, if you want to turn your life around, you cannot become the person you want to be if you keep trying to be the person that you used to be. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to become a butterfly, you can't stay a worm. So how do you do that? You do that by changing your state. Now, if anybody's followed any of Tony Robbins' stuff, he talks about it a lot. It's about raising your frequency. Now, some of you might not know what I'm talking about because you say, how do I raise my frequency? Well, you know that when you're laughing, you know that when you're dancing, when you listen to good music, you start feeling good. And it's that energy feeling that you have when you start feeling that life is viable. Life starts feeling great. And that is what I'm talking about. Now, the thing is, if you are carrying baggage around with you from your past, if you have had bad experiences, your subconscious mind is not going to let those experiences go. It's going to hold on to them to remind you of what happened the last time when you tried to do something. What happened the last time when you tried to get out and do something new, and how you got hurt. And what it's trying to do is protect you. It's not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you from hurting yourself, from getting into pain. The problem is when it protects you from getting into pain, it also stops you from creating a new life. It stops you from getting adventure. It stops you from trying new things. And because of fear, because of the survival mode that kicks in, you don't try new things and you don't explore and you don't have fun. Now, if you look at children, children have fun because they're exploring. They're trying new things. Everything's new. Everything's exciting. You will know if you've been on holiday and you are in a train or somewhere new in a new environment, your mind is not filled with things from the past, things that you have to do, emails you have to send, or anything else, unless you are not present. If you are on the train and you're looking out the window, your mind is elsewhere. You're not present. Then you are either focused on the future or you're focused on the past. If you want to be focused in the present, you need to let go of things that you have to do and things that have happened to you. So you need to change that state. Now, if you are programmed, and this is what happens in childhood, is when you do something often enough, it starts becoming on autopilot. It starts happening by itself without you having to think about it. You will know that you have a certain routine in the day, that you get up, you brush your teeth, you go have coffee or whatever you do, and it will always be in the same order. You'll even brush your teeth with the same hand and start in the same corner of your mouth. And what happens is you've trained your body so well that it takes over and you don't have to think about those certain things. And that's a good thing, because if your mind had to keep thinking every single step of the way, it would take up a lot of energy. The problem is you get caught up in a routine in your day-to-day mundane life, in a routine of what is familiar. Now, if you're in a toxic relationship and it's familiar, you're never going to get out. You're going to be, I wrote an article earlier about how you do boil a frog. You eventually are going to die because they turn the water up and then you just boil to death. And this is what happens if you don't get yourself out of the situation. So firstly, in order to start raising your state, the first step you have to take is you have to remove anything that's draining your energy. Now, this could be toxic people. It could be a toxic environment. But first and foremost, it's going to be toxic thoughts. It's going to be thoughts that you're having either about yourself or about other people or about events that have happened or about things that you need to do. And those things are going against the flow. Excuse me. They are going against who you are as a person. So let's say, for example, I used to do parties on weekends. And although they paid well, and although the people that I did the parties for were having a lot of fun, I was not enjoying it. I hated it. And I hated it not because I didn't like the people, but because it was against the flow of who I am. I am not a party person. I rather read a book and I'd rather have coffee and have intimate conversations with people than to be in a group of people that I don't know and try and raise the frequency for everybody else so that they can have fun, but at the cost of my own well-being, to the point that when I left there, I would feel completely and utterly drained. So I had to reach a point where I said, it's not worth it for me to do that, no matter how much it pays, no matter how much people get value out of it. I cannot in the end add value if it's not working for me. So things even like having clutter in your house that are taking up negative space, things that when you look at them, they make you feel drained. They may be somebody's stuff that you inherited. Maybe, somebody passed away and you've inherited a whole lot of this stuff. Every time you look at it, you don't know what to do with it because you feel obligated to keep it, but it's not your energy. You need to get rid of those things. And you don't have to get rid of them in a bad way. You can love them, you can thank them, and then you can pass them on to somebody who will get value from it. And that way you free up space and you welcome energies into your space that you do like. The same works for clothing. The same works for the people that you hang around with. If you find that you're having people in your life that are draining you, that are taking time, then you need to cut down that time to a minimum. You don't have to spend 6 hours with them. You can spend half an hour with them. And it applies to even people in your family that you might want to enjoy just connecting with, but you don't have to hear them complaining, because if you're a person that takes it on, you're going to leave that situation and you're going to feel heavy. So that brings me to the thought process. If you are having negative thoughts, you need to interrupt those thoughts. So if you're all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're in a bad mood, or you're feeling lonely, or you're feeling down, what was the thought that you had when you opened your eyes? Was the thought, oh, I'm back in this life again, this is what I have to do? Or was it a case of, what can I do that's new and fun today? And initially, it's going to take energy. Initially, it's going to drain you because you are not used to that way of doing things. Just like trying to travel a new road to work. Initially, you're going to have to focus on where you're going. I need to turn left here. I need to turn right there. I mustn't forget that's where the place is, And then you get to a point where your body just drives itself to work. There will be days that you say, I don't even know how I got here because my body was on autopilot. And that's the same thing with anything new that you try. But only you can decide, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to live in this brain, in this mind of mine that's in a negative state all the time? Is this what I want? Now, here's the thing. What people do is they say, if only my father would apologize, or if only, I could get over that thing that happened to me 20 years ago. And the fact is that thing happened. So what you need to do, there's two things. One, you need to let that go. You cannot carry it with you anymore. It's only you carrying it. It's not going to hurt anybody else. It's in your mind. It's your pain. Whether it's your weight, whether it's the way you look, whether it's something you said 20 years ago, it doesn't matter. It's your pain. And you have a choice of every minute of every day to say, do I want to carry that pain? Is that what I want to have in my mind? Because I only have so much airspace, and that is getting way too much airspace. So how do you let it go? Well, what I do is I teach people how to go back into their past to release it. It's not a case of revisiting it and languishing in it and retelling the story and thinking that if I keep telling the story over and over again, it'll clear it. Because all that happens is you get back and caught up in the nostalgia of it all. It's like looking at old photographs and reminiscing and wishing that you were back there. You're not back there. You will be back there in that time and space, but why can't you create a new place that you could go to so you could actually re-experience it in a real life setting rather than in a memory of people that were younger and people that maybe even not even in your life anymore. So if you start changing the way that you do things, you have so much more to look forward to than things you're trying to run away from. So you don't have to revisit your past. I'll tell you a story. My grandmother, she smoked for 40 years. 40 years she was a smoker, and she smoked quite heavily. And then she got Alzheimer's, and she forgot. She woke up one day and she forgot that she smoked. And she told everybody, I don't smoke, that stuff's disgusting. Now, I found that quite amusing because I used to smoke. I used to smoke quite a lot as well. And I thought to myself, if she could just wake up one day and forget that she smoked and no withdrawal symptoms, she had no inclination to go and buy it, there was no stress, there was no habit around it because she literally forgot. If you could just forget and you could just let it go, how different would your life be? Anyway, I went for hypnosis and that's how I quit smoking. That was also about 20 years ago, maybe longer. And I haven't had a cigarette since. I haven't missed it. I didn't go through withdrawal symptoms. I didn't go through stages. I literally changed my mind. The problem is that we have got that memory. You are holding on to it. You don't have amnesia. You don't have Alzheimer's. No one can take a hammer and hit you on the head and hope that that memory is going to go away. So the only way you're going to get rid of that memory is to confront that memory and have peace with it. Have peace with things that happen in your life. Mourn the loss of the life you would have or should have had, the life you deserved, the life that you wanted. And if you mourn the loss of that life, you will be able to let it go and say, you know what, these things happened to me. These bad things happened to me. I can't change them. But am I going to be determined by them? Are they going to create my future? Are they going to cast my future in stone and say, this is who I'm going to be because of these things that happened to me? They don't have to define you. They may have created the person you are, but you're not defined by them. So you need to change that program. And then you've got to decide, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a person who has adventure? You don't have to know everything that you want. You don't have to. You might say, you know what, I don't even know where I want to be. For me, myself, I want to travel. But I don't even know where I want to travel to. So you know what I do? I say to the universe, you decide for me where you want me to go and I'll be open to it. I will wait for that opportunity to come. And when that opportunity presents itself, I'll be the first one to have packed my bags and I'll be on that plane. And that is how I managed to go away. That's how I went away a few times. And sometimes I get an idea or an inspiration to where I want to go. And that's exactly what I do. So decide, do I want to be adventurous? Do I want to be a person who complains? Or do I want to be somebody who tries new things? Or somebody that people can cry on my shoulder? I decided I want to be wise. Because when I asked people questions, they didn't give me answers that made sense to me, that were practical tools that I could use. And so because I couldn't find anybody wise around me, I decided, well, if I can't find anyone wise, then I suppose I should just become wise myself. And I'm still working on that. I hope that I have got wiser than I used to be. But those are decisions you just make. And as soon as you make that decision, something triggers inside you. It gives you a motivation. It gives you something to work towards. So rather than focusing on what you don't want, you start focusing on what you do want. And if those thoughts don't work for you, take them out. You don't have to. You can say, you know what, I've had these thoughts for the last 30 years of my life, 40 years of my life. They haven't worked. Nothing's changed. So how has that worked for me? What can I do differently today so that I don't have to keep repeating the mistakes of the past? And all I am then is an echo. I'm just an echo of yesterday's person, of the person before, of the person before. And of course, nothing's going to change. And then you have to... Let me see what else. And then you have to reprogram your mind, and you reprogram your mind daily. In other words, if I wake up, the first thing my brain does is it goes, oh, what are my emails? What's on Facebook? What messages did people post last night? What did I miss out on? And if I don't want to keep replaying the same person that I was before, then I have to say, I'm not going to look at my phone. I am going to do something else today. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my fitness routine. Or I'm going to drink a glass of water, or I'm going to do something that is different, something that is going to spark new excitement and new adventure in my life. And then that is what I do. So I hope that this helped you. I hope that you got some advice and some inspiration. I do coaching. I help you release that baggage. If you'd like a free one-on-one session with me, a free strategy call, just to find out how I work and how I can help you change your state, change your life, then just let me know. My link is on the banner, and you can just book in a time sometime, and I can see if I can help you. I hope that you have an amazing day.